I remember the way the sunlight danced on the Pacific, shattering into 1,000 shards of gold. Newport Beach was always that kind of picture perfect, the kind that made you feel like you were living inside a postcard. I was 18, freshly graduated, and the world was supposed to be my oyster. But beneath that glossy exterior, something was festering. It started innocently enough. My mornings began with a run along the shore, Nike sneakers pounding the sand, the smell of salt air mingling with the scent of my sweat. The other runners were always there, familiar faces I never knew. They nodded their heads in silent acknowledgement, their eyes hidden behind Ray-Bans, just like mine. I thought the isolation was something I craved. The long hours spent alone in my room, scrolling through Instagram, watching influencers flaunt their curated lives. They all wore Lululemon and held their Starbucks cups like trophies. I wanted to be like them, or at least, I wanted to want to be like them. But the more I tried to fit that mold, the more hollow I felt. It was around that time I started noticing the shadows. They weren't the kind that disappear when you turn on a light. No, these shadows lingered, just at the edge of my vision. They followed me from my bedroom to the kitchen, where the Keurig brewed yet another cup of coffee I didn't need. They watched me as I applied my MAC lipstick, a ritual that felt increasingly like war paint. The more I tried to ignore them, the closer they seemed to come. I'd be lying on my mattress, trying to sleep, and I'd feel the weight of unseen eyes. My heart would pound, drowning out the gentle hum of the ceiling fan. I kept telling myself it was just stress. College applications, social pressure, the endless quest for perfection. But deep down, I knew it was something more. One afternoon, I decided to confront the shadows. I sat in the living room, the afternoon light filtering through the sheer curtains. The room was filled with the familiar scent of my mom's Joe Malone candles. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and waited. The air grew colder, and I felt the goosebumps rise on my skin. When I opened my eyes, they were there. They weren't figures exactly, more like distortions in the air, ripples that made the world around them seem unreal. I reached out, my hand trembling, and the shadows seemed to recoil. That's when I felt it, a sharp pain in my chest, like someone had plunged a dagger made of ice straight into my heart. I gasped, clutching my chest, and the shadows vanished. I was alone again, but the pain lingered. I stumbled to the bathroom, splashing water on my face, staring into the mirror. My reflection seemed different, hollowed out, like a version of myself that had been drained of all life. Days turned into weeks, and the shadows became a constant presence. They whispered to me, not in words, but in feelings. Despair, fear, anger. I couldn't escape them, no matter how hard I tried. My friends noticed the change. They'd invite me to beach bonfires, trying to pull me back into the world of the living, but I always found an excuse to stay home. One night, as I lay there in the dark, I realized what I had to do. The shadows were a part of me, a manifestation of everything I tried to suppress. I needed to face them, to understand them. So, I closed my eyes and let them in. The pain was excruciating, but through it I saw flashes of my past, moments I'd buried deep, traumas I'd never acknowledged. The shadows weren't my enemies. They were my memories, my fears, my guilt. As I embraced them, the pain began to fade, replaced by a strange sense of peace. When I opened my eyes, the room was bathed in soft morning light. The shadows were gone, or maybe they were still there, but now they felt like a part of me. I got out of bed, feeling lighter than I had in years. I slipped on my Nike sneakers and headed for the beach, ready to face the world with all its imperfections. The sun was rising, casting a golden glow over the ocean. I took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill my lungs. For the first time in a long while, I felt alive. The shadows were my past, but they didn't define me. I was ready to step into the light, to create my own story, one where I was no longer a prisoner of my fears. As I ran along the shore, the waves crashing beside me, I knew I'd never be the same. The shadows had shown me the darkness within, but they'd also shown me the strength I never knew I had, and with that strength, I could face whatever came next.